So if you are testing an application for the dynamic analysis, then first you have to configure your mobile device. First you have to connect your mobile device with your virtual machine. And for that part, you can simply use ADB. Just open a new device here, open a new tab here. Just go with ADB, connect, and go with the IP address for your mobile device. Let's say for this particular mobile device, I have the IP address here as like something like 192.168, maybe something like that. Let's just check. Go with the advanced options. And the IP address was 192.168.1.19. All right. 192.168.1.19, and the port number was by default 5555. Right? Just press enter, and this will simply first start my daemon server on my main virtual machine, and then simply connect with the Android device. Now my device was connected here. After connecting your device, if you simply refresh here, again you got the same error because on the mobile app, sorry, in the Bexla, you are using a Docker image, right? So you have to configure this config.py file, which is not available in this particular location here. But if you go with this your Kali Linux where you have installed this mobile app, like if I go back to the CD downloads and go with LL here, I have the folder name mobasf. Let's install this one again, cd mobasf. Let's go with the requirements first. Go with simple sudo apt install. First, let's go with the pip. Let's install the pip first. Then we go with the requirements.txt. Right? With the simple pip, like if you work with the latest version, you simply execute this command. You will simply installing version 3 for the Python. Right? You are installing the Python package installer for the Python version 3. But if you want to install the Python package installer pip for version 2, you have to download the specific files, which I will show you later on. But again, with a simple command, you can easily download the pip for the Python version 3. After downloading, you can simply install the requirements first. Just go with sudo and go with pip install requirements.txt with the -r option, which I forgot here. Just go with the -r option to specify the particular read line and then execute all the commands one by one. So here we got all the dependencies. Just fulfill all the dependencies. And after dependencies, you can move toward one more file. That was your, not this one. Then you have to configure this setup.sh file for the Linux. So let's execute like sudo dot slash setup.sh. Go with the password here, Python found, and all the dependencies were already configured here. And but we got a basic error for our Python 3 virtual environment. So just copy this command to install these dependencies here. Go with sudo permission and install this command. Yes. And now this will simply install the Python virtual environment, and then you have already covered all the dependencies. Some of the dependencies were covered by your pip Python package installer, and some of them were covered by your simple apt. After completing all the dependencies, then you can move toward the basic installation. Just go with the same command again, like sudo dot slash setup.sh. Let's execute this one, and this time this will install your mobile tool in your machine, right? So you have to install the mobile. Don't go with this Docker image here, because if you use the Docker image, you will not be able to configure your analyzer identifier here, through which you simply connect your Android device with your virtual machine, and then you use those virtual machines here, right? Just install the mobile. And just wait for 2 seconds. All right. So mobile stuff has been installed. Just start the file. You can start the mobile stuff with a simple run.sh file in the Linux, or you can use run.bat file for the Windows. Just go with the same sudo dot slash, go with run.sh, and this will simply give you a link to use your mobile stuff. Now, after starting your mobile stuff, if you again go with the dynamic analyzer here, you get the same error for the virtual instance. So go with the same command, open a new tab, and go with adb was not installed here. First of all, let's go with simple sudo apt install and adv. Let's go with the password and let's install the Android debug bridge. Now we can simply go with adv connect and just go with IP address 192.168.1.19 and port number was 5555. To start your daemon and connect with the device. After connection, after establishing a connection, if you simply refresh the web page here, now you can use your device for virtual analysis here. So let's say I want to analyze this particular Diva Beta application, right? Or you can choose any application which you have installed on the device, any application, but that should be installed by the user. You can only analyze user installed application through mobile app, or otherwise you have to pass the APK file for the system applications, right? You can easily download the system application from this particular path. Just go with simple ADV shell. All the system applications were available in this particular location. Just go with CD, go with systems, and go with the app folder. All the system applications were available here. You can go with these applications as like simple browser was the calculator, calendar, camera, and all the different applications were here. You can simply download the APK file for all these applications and you can test this application with your mobile app. But when you test this application, if they were not installed on the device, your mobile app will first install the device. So your mobile app will first install those applications and then you will be able to test that application through mobile app, right? And these are the applications which are installed by the users. Let's go with any application. Let's go with this one, Jaka Rashim Diva. Let's start the dynamic analyzer here. Just click on that part. Okay. And here we go, right? Just zoom out a little bit here. Now it's good. So first thing, what you can do here, so you don't have to go to this device all the time, but you can do is go with this show screen option. So you can cast the device screen here, right? And one more thing, your mobile app was completely designed. If you go with the dynamic analyzer, your dynamic analyzer in the mobile app was completely designed with help of your Frida scripts, right? With help of your Frida scripts. Frida was just a common framework which takes help from your JavaScripts. Frida is just a framework which through which you can execute some JavaScripts on your Android devices or your iOS devices as well. Through Frida script, you can easily work with the active processes. You can easily work with the memory. You can easily work with the storage as well as the resources as well as the kernel as well, right? But Frida was just a framework in which you are able to execute these JavaScript here, right? And to start the dynamic analyzer in your mobile app, you first have to start this instrumentation, right? Just start this instrumentation. This will simply execute all these default checked applications. These are default modules for the FIDA scripts. So FIDA scripts was mainly used for like SSL pinning bypass and a root detection bypass kind of thing, right? These are the two most widely used applications, most widely used features for the FIDA script, you can say, for your SSL pinning bypass as well as your root detection bypass part, right? Now, if you want to perform these things, just select them and go with your start instrumentation. And then your device, you can see your mobile app will execute all those scripts. And if you want to analyze the response, you can simply go with the logcat stream here. We have all our log streams for our Android applications, right? And then we have our simple. If you want, you can also go with the logs here for the Frida scripts. Like we have executed this script and this and that actions were performed. But these are the logs for the Frida scripts only. Now, after this part, whenever you test, whenever you test any application through mobile app, your mobile app will first install its certificate in the Android device. Then you will be able to pass any kind of JavaScript to the application, to the system, right? Because the system have those root level CS certificate in the mob SF. Android device will trust that script and execute that script because that script was passed from a trusted certificate, right? So with the help of your certificate, your Android device will simply trust your input, your script as a trusted input, right? Because of your main root level CA certificates here. So if you want, you can easily remove your certificate with these buttons here, right? You can simply choose these options from these buttons. You don't have to write your script all the time. If you want some custom script, you can write them here. Or if you want to go with some default scripts, you can just browse between these options. Like simple, we have scripts for bypass flag secure part, we have bypass method part, like file trace options were there, native interface was there, intent dumper was there. Right? If you want, you can easily dump the all the intent. Just load this script and then again start your instrumentation, right? And you will get your results in the Frida Live Logs button here, or you will get all your results from the Frida Live Logs here. And one more thing, whenever you execute any kind of Frida script, you can see the results on your Android device, right? You can see the actions or the main actions which are happening on the device on the main screen here, right? Or if I go with the simple Frida logs, you can see these are your main basic Frida logs out there, right? On the other hand, if you want to test HTTP, you can go with the HTTP part here. Let's say if I want to set the proxy here, you can go with the proxy part, or if you want, you can go with some certificate testing as well, right? That your application was configured for SSL pinning or not. Just to test those SSL pinning, you can work with these options here, like a TLS as well as your SSL security tester, which again test for the SSL pinning and TLS pinning as well, right? And after this part, if you have your application depends on any kind of module, then you can identify the dependencies with these options here. Just select these options and again start your Frida log. You can simply go with the logs here to analyze the results, right? And we got all our results from here. You can easily analyze the logs. But if there was any kind of error, those errors will be listed here. But that's why we don't have any error here. So the error part was completely blank. But we got some logs here which analyze, which simply shows our response or our result, you can say, for this particular script. So you can easily use your MobSF through these kind of basic options, or if you want, you can simply go with these basic auxiliaries as well. Like if you want to load some basic classes, right? If you want to enumerate all those classes, or if you want to get a list of all the classes that are executed at the time of application execution, you can simply go with enumerate class methods, or you can simply go with enumerate loaded classes here. Right? Let's say I want to enumerate all the loaded classes for this particular application. Just go with this one and again start your instrumentation. All your Frida scripts will be executed through your instrumentation button here, right? Execution of Frida script was generally known as instrumentation, right? And you can easily analyze the results from your Frida logs. And these are your results again. Or if you go here, you can use some other options as well. If you want to search for something, you can search here, like search for class method, search for basic class pattern, class method. We have two options available here, right? Other than this, you can also browse between these options which are available here, like get Android ID. You can easily load those scripts and then you can easily execute them and you can analyze the logs to get your results. Just wait for a few seconds and this will give you your results. And you have to scroll to the last. All right, where we don't have the keys, just get to the top again. And loaded flash script was this one. Okay, and results are not available here. Let's give it a try here. Data refreshed at every 3 seconds. That's perfect. But I'm looking for the Android ID. Results are not available here. Not a problem. Let's try some other scripts here. Okay, let's try for what? Let's try for AES case. Let's go with this loader part and let's give it a try. Like we were able to fetch any kind of AES keys from this Diva Beta application. And as we know, in the Diva Beta application, we don't have any kind of AES encryption. So maybe we don't get the results from here as well. But let's say like if I go with default scripts, because default it's completely blank. Let's go with all these. Let's capture all the strings, right? Let's capture strings comparison. If there is any kind of comparison between two strings through your application, if there is any kind of comparison between two strings that will be listed on your logs. So just go with the Frida logs here and you will get your results. Just wait for a few seconds again and you will get your results here. And we got the basic result. Like the other result. Like this particular string was compared with this particular string. And the result was completely false. So you can verify these things here. Let's scroll down like these things. Okay, these are the particular results. And these are again some comparisons here. And you can see the results. These are false, these are trues. And you can verify this thing like keystore.bks equals to keystore.bks. And the result was completely true. Right? Because type strings were exactly same out there. So these kind of comparisons were available in your application. You can easily find out any kind of hard-coded values from these dynamic analysis here. Or if you want, you can easily test for like your pin comparison part. If you are working on the pin, you're working for the authentication, then you can easily test this thing through this string comparison as well. Or if you want, you can easily extract the strings from your application. Just go with this one here. Just go with this auxiliary like capture strings. Just to capture all the strings from your application. Again, the strings were mainly captured from your strings.xml file, right? Strings were mainly captured from your strings.xml file. But if you want, you can simply go with your static code and you can directly extract that strings.xml file from your application. Or you can easily unzip that application. Even then, you can extract the strings.xml file. Other than this, if you go here, you can also analyze the API which are used in your application. Let's say if you are using some base 64 API, if you are using some like traffic API, any kind of API if you are using in your application, that application can be listed out here. You can simply go live API monitoring part and all the APIs are available in your application. Those were here. Like some of them was for your device data part was the database was also there. Like text class loader was also there, right? These are few of the APIs which were used in your application. So you can also get a list of all the APIs and their proper location, like where they are used and the proper path as well. Like they were used in these locations somewhere, like this one, not here. Let's go a little bit more. Okay, these were the DEX files, and these are the files. Not these one. Let's go to database. These are the application file here, right? So you can easily go with these files as well and the proper path where these files are available, like java.asim.diva, then database, and then diva.db. These files are available at this particular location here. So you can easily go with these files and you can analyze those files. Other than this part, if you go back to the analyzer here, you can also take some screenshots out there. Let's say I want to take some screenshot here. And that screenshot will be available at the time of reporting. When you generate a report, only then you can see those screenshots because those screenshots were not available directly here. So you go back to the report generation part, go with generate report here and just wait for 2 seconds. After generating a report, this will give you basic values from here. And then if you go to the screenshot here, your screenshots are available here, right? So you can take multiple screenshots to prove your vulnerability. That if you identify any kind of weakness or if you want to record some screens, you can perform these actions as well from your MobSF. But generally, if you are using MobSF, we only provide the support for the screenshots. They don't have any feature for the recording part. But if you want to record, you can use some other tools as well, right? But you can easily take some screenshots. You can go with some runtime dependencies out there. If there's any kind of dependency that will be listed out here. Any kind of server location, any kind of server was available. Let's say if you are talking about simple google.com, if any kind of data was shared, if any kind of link was available in the application for like google.com, the location for the Google application will be listed out here. Like if I go with the links here, let's go with this part, like API monitoring, and let's go with the URLs here. My particular application, we have a specific available URL that was this one, like play.googleapis.com/play/log/timestamp, and this particular server was available at this location here at the USA and California, you can say, right? So you can also go with these things. You can easily identify the server location, and if there was any kind of malware, like any kind of malware function, any kind of malicious code, any kind of malicious data was there, any kind of malicious file was there, that things can also be identified through your malware analyzer here. After malware analysis, you can directly go with the reconnaissance part, like basic clipboard dump. If your application was able to access your clipboard, or if your application can copy some data from the clipboard, even then there was sometimes counted as a vulnerability, right? So your application should not copy the clipboard data in any location. But if it is copying, then it was again a privacy breach, you can say, right? Any kind of URLs can also be identified here, any kind of emails can also be identified here. And if you have any tracker in your application, that things will also be listed out here. And these basic things were also be analyzed through your static analysis. But if you want, these things are also available in your dynamic analyzer. Then you got base 64 strings out there. If there is any base 64 encoded string in your application, that will be decoded automatically and that will be available here. But if there is data, if there is base 64 encoding data, only then the string will be decoded. Other than this, any kind of database will be listed out here. Like your application have this particular data, Tiva notes.db, which we have analyzed. If you want, you can simply open this database as well. And these are the basic content for your database. You can go with the titles, you can go with the notes, and you can go with the ID as well, right? So you can easily analyze the databases through your dynamic analyzer. You don't have to go with any kind of database browsers out there. You can easily analyze the database from your mobile app itself. Other than this database part, if you want, you can easily analyze those files here, right? Like simple library files were also there, some dex files were there, some like XML files were also there. All these files will be included here, right? Dex files were here, which contain all the source code, right? All the dex files are available here, and we have multiple Frida dex files. Other than this, you can easily generate your report, or if you want, you can easily download your report. The same way you can download your report for your static analysis as well, right? The report, if you want to download this one, let's say I'm downloading this report as mozilla.pdf. Let's go with the print here, and this will give you the hard version for your analysis. So we got the report. Okay, we don't get the report. Let's give it a try again. I want to save this file on my root folder. Okay. The file was available on the root location. Let's give it a try for the root. Other location, computer, go with the home. Nope, home. Let's check it here. Alright, it's completely empty. Let's print again. Not a problem. This time I'm gonna print this one on let's download folder. Let's go with document folder. I'm going with simple like report.pdf. Let's save this file, print here, and the report will be saved in this particular location. And this time we got the file maybe. Let's go with the documents, and we got our report here. So if you are submitting a report, you can easily submit that part as well. It will again help your pen testers to analyze these reports and easily identify your reports here, right? This will again help you, right? But if you are working with an application, you have to submit this report. But if you are working with a complete Android device, you have to submit these reports. Let's say for the Android device, just go with ADB and go with bug report, right? And again, I'm going to save this output in the particular file with the name abc.txt. And the output will be saved in this particular location, mob as up. So let's save this one to the home directory, or let's say this one is the download folder. Press enter, and okay, the device was not connected. Let's go with ADB, connect again, like 192, 168, 1.19, and 5555. Let's collect again and just wait for a few seconds. Because bug report contains almost everything about your device, like how much memory was consumed, which device was it, which device you are using, what was the version, and almost everything. What applications you have installed, how much memory was consumed by all other applications, what are the different processes, what are the process time, and all other different other things which are available in your bug report. If I go with simple, like just go with gedit, let's go with this one, dot slash kvc.txt. You can see we have different things out there which you can send if you are working with a Android vulnerability. Right? If you want to submit a vulnerability for the Android device itself, then you should submit these reports. Right? Otherwise, it will be it will become very difficult for your pen tester on the other hand side to understand your vulnerability. Right? So again, it contains some memory information, and if you scroll down, it contains some process information as well. Again, it contains tons of information which you can share. But these information should only be shared if you are able to identify a vulnerability for your Android device. But if you are testing application, then that kind of report was sufficient for the developer, right? If you share this information, share this report with the developer, that will be sufficient, right? But one more thing, before sending any kind of vulnerability, just add few things. Like you have to always add the impact for the vulnerability, just add the steps to reproduce that vulnerability, and the main part, the mitigation, like how the developer can patch those vulnerabilities. You have to always add these three things in your vulnerability report, right? But again, static part, you always have to analyze your application with a static code, right? Otherwise, you will not be able to analyze your dynamic applications as well. And with dynamic analyzer, you can perform multiple things. Some of them were listed out here. But again, if you want, you can use some other tools as well. Just if I go back, let's refresh this web page. Okay, we got an error. Let's press enter. Let's go with CD downloads, go with more backup, and let's go with simple sudo dot slash run sh. All right. Okay. Just give me a second. Let me restart my device. All right. On the other hand, let's give it a try for the next tool that we can use for the same dynamic analysis. But there's some advanced options with that tool. That was your browser. So for the browser, first you have to install the browser. So again, if you want, you can use the browser directly in your mobile, so directly in your mobile Explorer. Just go with the mobile Explorer. In your mobile Explorer, you have the Docker image. If you simply go with the browser, this particular mobile Explorer, you have this tool already installed. You don't have to install this tool. But again, we should know how to install these tools, right? For the installation part, let's go with our Kali Linux again, where we will install these tools. So let's go with the installation part. And again, one more thing, browser has very bad vulnerabilities, you can say. But vulnerabilities, browser has very bad dependencies, you can say. Like if you even fulfill those dependencies, even after that, you will get the same error to complete the dependency because of the Python dependencies. Those are completely Python dependencies. And because of Python version 2 and version 3, you have different Python versions. Because of that part, your browser sometimes work perfectly, sometimes it will not work perfectly. So it's better for all of us. to use browser in our mob Explorer, right? But again, let's start with the installation again. Let's go with the browser. And for installation, you can simply go with the browser-fsecure.com. Let's open this one. If you want, you can also go with the GitHub link as well. And for the browser, you can install the Debian file for the Kali Linux, or if you want, you can also download the WHL wheel file for your Linux operating system or the iOS operating systems as well. Let's download both of them. Let's download this one here. I'm going to save this file, and let's download this Debian file as well. The plus point of using this browser, so not this browser, the plus point of using this WHL wheel file for the Python was you can also cover up the dependencies with this particular wheel file. You don't have to install those dependencies one by yourself. Your wheel will automatically install all your dependencies, right? Just download these files in your particular folder and then start with your terminal here. So again, I have my files in this particular download folder and I'm using my terminal. After downloading, let's go with sudo first. Go with this one here. Pip was already installed, so you can directly install this browser.whl file, wheel file, right? To install this wheel file, we always use pip and go with the install command, then go with browser hyphen 2.4 this one and just press enter. And again, we got a basic error. If this was not supported will on this platform, it means if you use Python version 2, even if you use Python version 3, you will not be able to install this browser wheel, right? I have tried both of them and it works. It will not work. It's not working, right? So what you can do, just go with your dpkg to install this Debian file. Just go with dpkg-i to install this Debian package here. Just go with browser and deb. But again, with this particular Debian package, we got some basic errors out there, and these dependencies can be fulfilled through your Python version 2 and as well as your Python version 3. But if you fulfill those dependencies with the version 3, let's say we simply install pip install, let's say the last one, twister. Let's go with the last dependency as Python install twisted. The dependency was already fulfilled, but for the Python version 3, right? If you want to install these dependencies for the Python version 2, then again go with this browser here and search for the pip version 3, pip version 2 here. So just go with this one here. So what you can do is simply just search for Python pip 2 and you can go with this one here. Just you can go with simple this Stack Overflow link, how to install pip for Python 2. And in this particular Stack Overflow link, you have these links to download this pip for the Python version 2.7. So you can simply use these commands, or if you want, you can directly go with your official websites as well. You can simply copy these links. Let's copy this complete line here. Copy this link, paste it here, and this will simply download the file for you and save with the name get-pip.py. But this is the Python pip file for the version 2.7. So what you can do to install this file, just go with like Python and simply go with get-pip.py. And this will simply install the Python pip version 2.7 in your device. Then if you want, you can go with this wheel again. Let's give it a try. One more thing before after installing this thing, to simply check like which. So just you can simply check with the which command, like which pip 2.7. If you get a path for this one here, you can directly use this path. Or if you want, you can directly use pip 2.7. You can use this command just to verify. Like in your device, you have Python version 2. You have the pip for Python version 2 or not. Just to check this thing, you can try these commands. If you have this file for the version 2, then then it's not a problem. You don't have to install these things. But if you don't have the pip for version 2, then you have to install with the get-pip.py file, which you can download from this particular link, right? If you want, you can download the version 3 as well. For version 3, just remove this pip slash 2.7 and then just press enter for version 3, right? Now, after installing pip 2.7, just go with this pip version 2.7 and then go with this file as browser, this one, and let's press enter. Again, we got the error because I forgot to add the install command. And if I press enter, this will simply install the dependencies. To simply install the dependencies. But even after that, if I simply try the command browser, we got the effect here, not a problem. Let's say if I go with simple ADB connect, let's go with 192.168.1.19. Port number was 5555. Let's start our daemon again. Let's connect with our device. Device was connected perfectly. So before starting with the browser, you have to install the client because browser was just a kind of server client application, you can say, right? This was your basic client through which you simply pass the command, and the server will be installed in your Android device. So you can easily download the server from this same website from here. Just go with browser agent.apk file. Just download this file, and after downloading, you can simply install this file through the apt install command. Just save this file here. After downloading, just go with apt. Don't go with apt, just go with adb and go with install and go with browser agent 2.3.4.apk file. And now the file already exists, not a problem because I have already installed that browser agent here. After installation, just open this application, and now you can start a server on the port number 31415. So just use this button or on off. I'm going to turn on this server here just to power on the server, and then you can connect with your server through your client virtual machine here. So, but before establishing a connection, first you have to set the port forwarding, and you can easily configure the port forwarding. Go with the simple command adb, go with forward, and then pass your local address. I want my local address to be something like TCP. I'm using TCP as my IP address. Like I'm accepting all the IP addresses as my local one, and go with the port number as 31415 because your browser always works with the port number 31415. Then we have to pass the remote IP address. I'm going to use this same remote IP address as 3 TCP, and then pass the again same remote port number as 31415 because browser always work with this port number again, right? So just press enter here to configure your port forwarding, and after configuring your port forwarding part, then you can simply connect with the browser client out there. Browser was just a client server application again, right? We have just installed a browser application on the Android device. So we will get a connection for our Android device, but with the application privileges. You can perform all the actions which you can perform through an application. Like you can simply access any resource. You can simply access any resource through your browser. You can simply call some intents. You can simply manage some activities. You can simply sniff some intents as well, right? You can perform these basic things through your browser because browser was just the application which was installed in an Android device. So after port forwarding part, you can simply go with the command like browser and then go with simple console and then go with connect. Everything works perfectly fine. This will give us a shell. But again, you got the basic dependency error or like pip installed twisted. But if you simply copy this command and execute it here, dependency was already fulfilled, right? Dependency was already fulfilled. So these are the basic error which you got for the browser. That's why it's not working. Don't worry, I'll figure out this error, not a problem. But on the other hand, if you want to use the browser, you can simply go with this mobexler and then you can use the browser. So again, just go with the simple port forwarding, just go with ADB forward and go with the local port as TCP, port number as 31415, then go with the remote IP address again TCP and go with remote IP address as 415. After port forwarding part, just go with simple like browser and go with console and go with connect. The same command I have used in my Kali Linux. Or if you want, you can simply copy this command from here and you can paste that command on your mobile machine, right? And just press enter. This will give us a shell, right? Because all the dependencies are already fulfilled in your mobile machine, or because you are using a complete local image here, right? So you don't have to worry about all the dependencies in here. Now, after your after establishing a connection, what you can do, you can simply perform multiple actions. If you simply go with the help here, we have all these basic commands which you can execute through the browser. Like you can go with cd to list out all the directories because you have the access to the storage, right? If you go with the basic clean part, it will simply clean up this terminal here. If you go with the contributor, this will simply list out all the developers for this browser tool. If you go with echo, it will simply display a string. If you go with the environment, it will simply display some virtual environment path here. If you go with env, we got a list of all the paths here which are configured. Now then exit can be used for the exit, then we got the head, then we got the list. List can be used to list out all the modules, all the action which you can perform through browser. That actions can be listed out through your list command. You can use the list, or if you want, you can also use the ls command for the same thing, right? Ls and list were almost same. Just press enter. This will again give you a list of all the actions, all the modules that you can execute through your browser, right? Now, after that part, there's some other commands as well. If you again go with the help, you can also load some modules. You can also go with some module part here, just to install, just to uninstall all the modules which are listed here, right? If you want to uninstall or install this thing, you can go with the module part. Or if you want to load one of them, you can simply go with the load, right? Now, after this part, you can, if you want to list out some permissions, you can go with the permission. But again, to list out permissions for your application, only for your application, right? Then there is a basic run command which you can use for the for execution, for executing these modules here. You can use the run command to execute these modules out there. After this one, there's a basic set value to configure a variable part here. Then we got a basic shell variable. Then we got the basic shell command here to get a shell for our Android OS. But again, this will only give you a shell for your user permissions, for your user access here, user privileges here. And the user was this browser here. This browser was the normal user, right? Now, if you want to clean a variable, then you can go with the unset part to clean up a variable, right? After that part, let's give you these modules a try. So what you can do, again, before starting with any module, you always have to use this module over a specific package, right? Because we are testing a particular application, and for the application, we can uniquely identify the application with the username or with the package name, and we generally use the package names, right? So first we have to list out all the packages. For that part, just go with the run command and go with app dot package dot. You can also use the tab for the autofill. If I simply go back, you can simply use the tab for the autofill. Like you can use some application part was there, you can use some exploit, you can use some information gathering technique, you can use some scanners, you can use some shell option, you can use some tools as well, right? So you can use the tab for the autofill. Let's say I'm looking for application, right? Then for the application, you have all these modules which are available to you. You can simply work with some activities, with some packages, with some providers, content providers, with some services as well, and with some broadcast receivers as well, right? Other than this, let's say if you want to list out all the basic packages, let's just go with simple app.package dot list. So the basic module which you can use to list out all the packages out there. Just press enter, and this will give you a list of all the packages, including your browser one, right? So this was your browser agent which you have installed. This was your browser agent here. But let's say we were testing on this particular application, jaka.asteam.diva. Just copy this package name here, and I'll be using this particular package for my vulnerable application here, just to test this application, right? So just go with simple run and testing a particular application. I want a particular package first. Let's go with package, and again with the package we can go with these six options which are available here. These nine options which are available here. So you can go with simple attack surface. This will give you a list of all the exported activities, services, broadcast receiver, as well as your content provider, but only for the exported components, right? Not for the available one, only for the exported component, because only exported components can be used. So exported components can only be called through some other applications, right? You can only call those components. So if you want, you can go with this thing. Let's say if I simply go with the information part, just go with info here. It will list you a basic information about all the packages, because we have not listed, we have not filtered out any application. But if you want to work with a specific application here, Then first you have to check for the options which are available in this module. One more thing, for different modules we have different options, right? Let's say for some module you can simply use -a to specify package name. For some module you don't have to use -a for the package name, right? So point is you have to use different options for all the different modules, you can say, and you have to test. You have to check all the options in this particular module here with this -h option. Just go with the -h first before executing any module, and then you can choose one of these options that are available here. -a was generally used for your packages, generally, but not for all, right? So you can go with the -a. Let's go with simple. Like if I execute the same command, run apk, run app package information, go with -a and pass your package name here. The package name was something like, I forgot the package name. That was your diva.asim.java. And let's press enter. And I'm somewhere wrong with the package name. Let's give it a try again. The package name was Jaka Asim Diva. Alright, let's copy this package name and let's paste this here. And here we go. So we got the basic information about the data directory part, about the application path, about the user ID, about the group ID, shared libraries, shared user ID, and the basic permissions as well. This will also list out all the permissions which are used, which are defined in your manifest file. These permissions were extracted from your manifest file, not from anywhere else, from the manifest file here. Right? Now, on the other hand, if you go with some other applications, with some other modules here, let's say, if I simply go with the attack surface part, just go with the attack surface. With the attack surface, you don't have any option. We don't have any option with the attack surface. So what you can do, simply pass your module here and simply pass your package name here. And my package name was this one. This was my package name, like jakhar.asim.diva. This was my package name here, right? Just execute the command, run space your particular module name, and I'm working with this attack surface just to get a list of all the exported components from the activity, because we can call those components, right? And then pass your package name. And if I press enter, and in this particular application, Diva Beta application, we have three activities that that you can call from some other applications as well, or that you can call through the ADB command or through the browser as well, right? Because they were exported here. Other than this, we have one content provider as well that you can call through your browser or the ADB command, because that was exported again. So if you want to work with the activity, then just simply go with the run command again, go with run, go with app.activity here, and then you can perform these basic three things about your activity, right? If you want to pass some intents, you can pass the intent. If you want some basic information about the activity, you can go with the basic information out there. Let's say I want the basic information, right? Just go with the basic errand app information part. And with that again, you have to first check your options here. For the option again, go with -h. And with this part again, we can use -a. We have to use -a for our package name. Just copy this one, or if you want, you can go with the -a. And package name was like jakhar.asim.diva, right? And we got a list of all the activities that are exported here. What list of activities, right? So these are the three activities that are exported from your application. Like main activity was one of them, your API credential activity was second, and your API credits to activity was third. But the point is, as I told you in the previous sessions, your activity can only be called through the intent, because your different applications or the different process for the single application only share data, only share messages with help of intents, right? And if your intent define a particular action, if your intent has a predefined action, that action will be executed. You simply define an intent with the action. That intent will be used to perform that specific action, right? So if you have any intent for these activities, with a specific action. It means that action can be used with any intent. Okay? For that part, just to demonstrate this thing, we have to go with the manifest file because if you go with the same command like run app dot activities, and let's say if I simply go with start, right? With the start, I have to go with the hyphen h, get a list of all the options, and just press enter. We have to specify the action here. We always have to specify the actions, and those actions can be filtered from your manifest file because those were always defined in your manifest file, right? So just simply go with the actions, and for the action, I'm gonna use this one here. Just go with this APK file first. Let's go with simple CD documents. In the documents, we don't have the file. Okay, let's go with the downloads here this time, and we have the Diva beta application with a particular folder as well. Let's go with CD Diva Android, and in this particular folder, we have the basic. Uh, we don't have the application out there. Let's go back. CD. Okay, I'm in the right. So again, I'm going to remove this folder. Go with sudo rm-rf and go with diva-android, right? And go with the password again. Now, okay. Now what I will do, I will simply extract the manifest file with a simple APK tool, right? Just use APK tool. I'm going to decompile my Diva beta application. Just decompile. It will automatically create a folder with the name diva-beta for me. If I go with ls, you can see we got a folder with the name diva-beta. Let's change the folder. And in this folder, we have this basic manifest file. Let's go with simple gedit and open this Android manifest file here. And in this manifest file, you can see we have basic definition for our activities, right? We have predefined intents here, and these intents have a specific action, right? If you want to call these activities, you can simply pass that particular intent to your application, but you have to pass that intent to the Android device, and then your Android device will deliver that intent to the application, and then your application will simply execute this activity. So you have to start with these actions that are defined in your intents always. And we have a simple three intents, three actions were defined for this particular uh, activities here. First one was your Jaka Asim Diva API credits activity. That was one of the exported. Second one was your Jaka Asim Diva API credits 2 activity. That was second of the exported activity. Third one was your Jaka Asim Diva main activity. That was the third exported activity here. One more thing. One more thing. Not for all the exported activities we have intents with the actions. No, it's not a necessary filter. It's not a necessary filter, right? If you want, you can easily skip these things. If you want to export activity, you can export without even defining a particular action, right? You can do these things as well. So it's not a mandatory thing that if you have an exported activity, then you can call it from anywhere. But if you have an exported activity with the intent with a specific action, then you can definitely call that activity here, right? Let's say if I simply go with this app create activity here, let's go with the 2 1 here. Simply copy this action from here. Just copy this action like jaka.asim.diva.action as view credits 2. Just copy this action here, and I'm going to use this particular action with my terminal. So where is our terminal? Here we have the terminal here, right? So for the action part, just go with this hyphen hyphen action here. Just go with the same command with hyphen hyphen action. And on the other hand, we just minimize this one and let's minimize this a little bit here. All right. So just maximize this one here. And now let's execute this command. I'm on the main screen for my Android device. Let's specify the action and let's pass our intent from here. So just pass this intent, copy this one here and paste it here, right? And press enter. and we got the basic activity here, right? So you can call all the actions. If I simply go with the view threads, and we got the other activity here. If you go with the main activity here, you just have to pass that particular intent, right? Because you can only call the activities with these intents. Without intents or without action intents, you cannot call these activities here, right? So you always have to pass these actions. I'm going with something wrong here. Just copy this action and let's pass this here. Permission denied. All right, not a problem. Again, we have some permissions as well in the this part, right? But you can also call some activities from the intents. Other than this, we have some other options as well which you can use from this browser part that you can test for the SQL injection. If you have any kind of content provider those exported, you can easily test for this SQL injection. If it is vulnerable to SQL injection, you can test here. For that part, you can use the scanner. Just go with the run and go with the scanners. Inside the scanner, you can scan for these basic things. Like if you go with the activities, you can test for the browsable. If your activity was working with any kind of like URLs, right? Like the HTTP URL, file URL kind of thing, that application, that browsable activities can be find out with these scanners here. And for the injection, for the specific SQL injection, you can use this particular scanner here, right? Just copy this one here. Let's say I'm using the scanner dot provider because we have a content provider and we have one exported content provider. If you remember, let's just execute the same again, like app dot package dot what was that part? Attack surface, right? Okay, hyphen a for the package name like Jaka dot Asim dot Diva. Okay, without hyphen a, and we have a single content provider exported out there, right? So you can simply use the scanners, like simply go with the run, go with the scanners, go with the providers out there, and then you can simply scan for the injection. But again, with the injection, you have to pass some values here. So what you have to pass is this particular package with the same hyphen a option, or you can do one more thing. You can do one more thing. You can also pass the URI. You can also pass the URI that was defined for that particular resource. Because for all the resources, like for the files, for the databases, for all the resources, we have this URI, right? And what you can do, you can also identify these URIs, or you can simply pass these package names here. So the simplest thing was pass this package name instead of the URI. Just go with the hyphen a and pass your package name as like jaka dot asim dot diva, right? And we got a basic result as this particular content provider is not vulnerable, right? We have tried these things, but this is not vulnerable here, right? But you can also test for these injections out there. You can also use some other scanners as well, and we have multiple other things which you can use. Like you can use some scanners here, you can use some exploits for basic things, you can use some auxiliaries for the web content resolver out there, like simply start an interface for the web service here. Then you can also go with some applications, you can go with some services, providers, packages, broadcast receivers, and activities as well, right? So you can give it a try for your browser. But again, if you are using Mobexler, you will not face any kind of error using Mobexler, using your browser. But if you are using Kali Linux and you are trying to install this browser, you can give it a try. Maybe it works on your machine, it's not working on my machine, right? It happens sometimes. So you can give it a try for installation as well. Otherwise, you can simply go with the draw. You will simply go with the Mobexler to use this browser tool, right?